Hello YouTube, welcome to MTGA Day, and today we are going to have a look at Meria, Scholar of Antiquity in Historic Brawl. This deck aims to win by playing a bunch of cheap artifacts and then drawing your entire deck through various means. This is basically a Storm deck, but I believe this deck to be currently the best Storm deck in the format, purely because it brings something to the table that no other Storm deck can right now, and that is a lot of resiliency and a decent plan B. So, the commander, Meria, Scholar of Antiquity, costs 3 mana and has the ability to tap an untapped non-token artifact you control to add 1 green mana, or to tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control and then exile the top of your library, and then you can play that card until the end of turn. So, basically, if you play any 1-drop artifact, you can play it for 1 mana and it can immediately tap, and so effectively these cards are free. But if you now have a cost reducer, something along the lines of Foundry Inspector, for example, that says artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, now you're going up in mana, and that is very, very strong. So the idea here is play a bunch of 1-drops and then draw more and more cards, and then, you know, maybe you haven't gotten there, and then next turn you can do it all again, but now you have even more artifacts in play to draw even more cards. Our actual win conditions, like during Storm turns, are things like Finale of Devastation. You can equip something with an Analyst, give it haste and trample, and just swing face, or just win with an Aetherflux Reservoir. And the core of the deck, like the thing that makes this deck tick, is all the cost reducers, and we have a bunch of them. Finally, can tutor for a cost reducer. Cloud Key is a cost reducer. Foundry Inspector is a cost reducer. Semblance Anvil is an insane cost reducer, reducing everything by 2, but at the additional cost of exiling something from your hand. Birgi is effectively a cost reducer. Traxos is effectively a better cost reducer because you can also exile from the top with Traxos, because whenever you play an artifact, Traxos is an artifact that untaps, and that is just massive. And Models and Ugin are okay in the deck, but we really want that critical mass of cost reducers, which is why they're in here. Oh, and Jorah's Familiar. And while this is a Paradox Engine deck, Paradox Engine is not your most important game plan, in a way that, like, if Paradox Engine was banned, this deck would still exist. And like, yes, you play Paradox Engine and then you play a spell, untap everything, and the exile from the top play, you just basically immediately win if Paradox Engine hits the battlefield, but it's not as important to a game plan than something like a Junkyard Scrapper, for example. This is the true MVP of the deck, because you can also tutor it with a Finale of Devastation, and yes, you can tutor Paradox Engine with Inventor Sphere, but Junkyard Scrapper is something else, let me tell you. So what happens with this card is you play a 1-drop and now you exile a 0-drop, and we have 6 0-drops in total. We have these 5 here, and then all the way at the bottom, Astral Cornucopia, which is also effectively 0, right? So you play Junkyard Scrapper for 3 mana, and then you play 6 1-drops that effectively costs nothing because they immediately pay for themselves, and they pull 6 0-drops out of the deck. So this already kind of gets you, like, disregarding all like advantage for future turns, this basically gives you 3 mana immediately, and that is just absolutely massive. Especially with the cost reducer, it goes absolutely crazy. And yeah, the way we win if Meria gets dealt with is certain cards like Retrofitter Foundry can just take over the game against control. You can play a Metalwalk Colossus and just equip a Shadow Spear onto it to give it trample and lifelink. Like, just a basically fair beatdown plan is possible with this deck, and that is basically it. I've worked on this deck for quite some time now. It's probably my most played deck since Dominaria United was released. The current record in this set, I stopped at 100 games because I, was a nice number, is 91-9. So that is a 91% win rate, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, again, I think this is currently the best Storm deck in the format. Hope you enjoy the games. If you do, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and join the Discord if you want to have regular updates on all my decks. Let's do this. We are ready to play against Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. And we are going first. That's perfect. Yeah, against, like, they're playing a linear deck and we just want to play linear ourselves. We could mulligan this hand to a cost reducer. I'm usually pretty happy to ship the first hand in order to find a cost reducer, but given that we're on the play, we just have 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop. We have a Mox Amber, lots of things to do, 3 mana. But maybe it is just correct to dig here for a cost reducer, because cost reducers are so important. I do like the Springjaw trap though. Like, being on the play and then being able to snipe their commander and making them lose a lot of tempo is very important, which I'm keeping this based on the Springjaw trap. I'm like, if we draw another land, then we can play Shadow Soul Smashing, but currently I'm keeping this based on Springjaw trap. And now our early game is going to look like this, where we just deploy a bunch of 1-drops, and then turn 3 we play Meria and, you know, dump the rest of our hand onto the field. So, Lantern, let's grab Tablet, pass turn. We're not playing this yet in case we draw a Birgi or something like that. Lots of speed, sure. That is fine. I very much assume that they have interaction. Like, this 1 red is kind of sus. Like, I don't like, Valduk decks are pretty low to the ground usually, and that they play a bunch of cheap equipments. So I don't trust this. What we're going to do here is, I think we start by drawing a few cards, right? Lantern of the Lost. And then we can just... We're gonna keep this around here. Maybe... Yeah, I definitely want to do like this. Yeah, just play this untapped with the intention of flashing this at their end step. Yep. Mox Amber. So they ordered this kind of a bit wrong, where you want to play the Amber before Valduk in case I had a Bolt. Yeah, you can swing it, and then we're going to kill the Valduk. And that is the idea here. A land would be perfect. Well, that's a cost reducer. So we can go Meria, Mox Amber, and then inscribe Tablet for a land. We should have cracked a Traveler's Amulet because this gives us the chance to whiff, which we luckily didn't. Oh wait, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Now we have to play it like this. Whatever. Yeah, I was counting mana and then was like, okay, I don't have the mana to do that, and then I did it anyways. And yeah, that was an issue. So Lightning Bolt would definitely mess up our day here. Shadow Skull Smashing is honestly great. The reason why Lightning Bolt would be so devastating is because they could also just equip Boots of Speed here. But now we can just do this, play Mirror Enforcer, replay Meria, kill you. Yep. And then where do we want to equip this Basilisk Collar? Probably on a Mirror Enforcer, purely because now we, like, in future turns, we can keep this Mirror Enforcer back and it blocks the 3/1s, and we get life from doing that. And this is not a May ability, so that is definitely a threat. Okay, Arm Scavenger swings in. Could definitely be an issue. Is definitely an issue. They swing in for 5. We're not going to block, and we're going to hold back this Mirror Enforcer. And let's start exiling. So you usually start your turns by actually just, you know, exiling. And I think we just can't afford to we just can't afford to tap this Mirror Enforcer. If they have double strike here, we're just straight up dead. Yeah, our mistake there, just like the miscalculation, was really costing us there. Mirror Shield? Oh, no way. This is so brutal. Because now we don't get, like, Basilisk color turned from a great enchantment to, you know, not a good one. Yeah, we can't block this. Because this now has Death Touch, and Mirror Shield just automatically destroys creatures that have Death Touch. Oh yes. Well, it's not that great actually, but oh, there's our own Mirror Shield. Let's play Sleeper Dart here. Draw a card. Oh, this is actually huge. We can Boseiju the Mirror Shield at instant speed if we want to. We can also just Boseiju it now and make the Arm Scavenger not attack, which I kind of like as well. Very tricky. Very, very tricky. So Boseiju... The question is if I want to tap this Sleeper Dart or not. We can also just tap this Mirror Shield, so we do Mirror Shield, Meria, Juris Familia, and this. Yeah. And they can just play Equip. Yeah, we need to keep this untapped here in this spot. You can also just attack, and then in response to the attack we kill off. Yeah, kind of like this. So we should have played this land here, because if we flip a land that would be unfortunate. Luckily we didn't. Okay, Finale. Is that lethal next turn? So this costs currently 1. Yeah, so let's take this time and equip Mirror Shield to Meria, so Meria doesn't die. And pass turn here. And currently, like, even if they have an Embercleave, well, an Embercleave would get us here, kind of. Because we're going to destroy the Mirror Shield before blocks, and Embercleave would be is usually played after blocks. Embercleave being a flash equipment that gives trample and double strike and +1/+1. Looks like they don't have it here, so we let them attack first, and then we just regain a bunch of life with the Mirror Enforcer here. So Mirror Shield. Yep. Now this the Mirror Enforcer can actually block the Arm Scavenger, which it could do previously. Now it's going to die as well, but at least we get the life, and the Arm Scavenger dies on top of it, which is very important. And then Finale of Devastation. With the cost reducer on the field, it's 99% of the time Junkyard Scrapper. So yeah. Short Sword, equipping Birgi, sure. Oh yeah, Let's float this mana. Usually I like to keep up 1 mana or like 0 lands if we have another land drop to make. Purely because sometimes we need the 1 red. Search your library. Junkyard Scrapper. But yeah, now we're just going to Defense Grid. We still have 1 red here from the Mox Amber. So now Ominous Parcel, grabbing a 0-drop. And we don't need to play this 0-drop right now. For the record. Yeah, let's start exiling a couple more cards. Yeah, we have 1 more. Okay. And 1, 2, 3. We're not tapping the Mox Amber in case we need the red right now. Immortal Sun, now Ichor Wellspring costs 0. Let's play Witch's Oven first. We usually start by playing the 1-drops to pull out all the 0-drops, so our 2-drops can't pull 1-drops because that is basically lost value. Okay. Yes, we definitely want that. That is a great card here. Get you. Energy Refractor. Hopefully pulling out a 1-drop. Did indeed. Nice, we drew as Tamiya's safekeeping. That is pretty massive as well. Exile you. Yep, tap you too. And notice like what cards I'm keeping untapped and which one I don't keep untapped here. That is usually pretty important. There is an artifact land, that is always pretty good. And we're not going to make that land drop right now. The reason why we're holding off on playing these is, again, we have Birgi in our deck that we can draw off the top. There's Semblance Anvil. With this much cost reduction going on, I'm actually... I don't want to exile this Tamiya's safekeeping here. Let's just play Anvil. And the turn here is coming to an end, honestly. Well, if that happens. Exile you. Oh, that's a Balagate recovery. We can get a Boseiju. What do we want to give life? So how much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana, that's 2. And then that would be 0. We can also just Boseiju. So finale next turn would just be lethal, right? So we can also just figure out how we want to survive. I think there is no lethal here to be had, and this guarantees us lethal. So let's just bring back finale for next turn. Yep, play. We keep up Tamiya's safekeeping, by the way, and now we are going to... Yeah, we're going to equip this, where is it? Basilisk's Collar to... And let's just do Joyrus Familiar to be safe. No, let's just do Meria. And now we keep up safekeeping, right? And now we're in a pretty, safe spot. We have a lot of blockers, we have a lifelinker. Oh, I forgot. So the reason why we can't play Tamiya's safekeeping here... Oh wait, we're just dead in the air. Should have equipped the familiar. Yeah, that is an issue. Was there anything we could have done differently? I wasn't expecting an Inferno. If I was yeah, that is a GG. Nice. Well, we could have just not tapped the Ornithopter here. That would have definitely helped. So instead of tapping the Misref Bauble, have an untapped Ornithopter. Yeah, that cost us the game here. Very interesting spot. GG. We are ready to play against Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. Yeah, we just don't have enough artifact action in the early game, even though Mystic Forge is insane. Although, like, Mystic Forge against control on the play is usually where you want to be, because we expect Meria to die quite often, so Mystic Forge will go in, like, the distance. Maybe I will keep this. I'm currently talking myself into keeping this, because, like, just land drops Mystic Forge and then it's safekeeping to keep Forge. Yeah, this is not, like, this is a really slow start. But just getting any 2-drop here is also pretty great. We're likely leading on the tapped recovery. No Thoughtseize, nice. The good thing here is, if we have an artifact in play, we can just immediately protect Meria with safekeeping. And we're not going to run into counter magic. Let's just do this. Pass turn. So with this, so there is, I was thinking, okay, maybe I misplayed here with the mountain, but honestly, we don't have anything to do with this mana anyways right now. And if we play the Rootbound Crack here, maybe they think that we just don't have the untapped lands in order to play Meria, which makes them do like slightly different plays, maybe. So we kind of want Meria to get countered here, in order for us to be able to play this Mystic Forge. Oh, well, that just works, I guess. Let's just pass turn. We don't gain anything from playing this Bonesaw in this spot. Oh no, we do gain something, and that is playing around Spell Pierce, because we have 2 more mana, huh? Well, Swan Song didn't matter. Okay. So the reason why Meria dying is not that big of a deal is because we can't just rebuild with this Mystic Forge. We hope they tap out for Mana Rock here, or a Planeswalker. That would be the optimal thing. You can also just attack down a Planeswalker in this spot. 0-drop or Mountain? Kind of like the 0-drop more. Oh yeah, and that is an Inspiring Statuary. That is a great card. Mystic Forge, go. Nice. Do we want that? We kind of want that. That kind of 1, 2, 3. If we crack this now, we need a land off the top, I believe. We need a land off the top. So we crack Bauble now. The reason why we want to land off the top is so we can go Meria, Birgi, Storm Off, because if you have a cost reducer like Birgi and a play from top effect and there's only Mystic Forge and Experimental Frenzy, you are pretty likely to win. Like just straight up win. Although we just don't have a lot of buffer here. So maybe it's just best to wait. Yeah, let's just wait. So what we're... Oh, Defense Grid is great. Defense Grid is huge. So we're playing Defense Grid. Yeah, that is mana effectively. Treasure Token, sure. And there is a land. And then next turn we just aim for the win. Although I don't think we want to land on top actually, because in our storm turn we're just going to get a ton of land anyways. So I assume they tap out, right? If they kill Mystic Forge, that would be the most important. Yep, they did indeed kill Mystic Forge. And do we want to land now? No, we really don't. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so this was like we could have like there was a very real chance that we have had lethal next turn, but not like this. EI. Okay. Expressive iteration. Should have done that first, right? Okay. I assume they exile a land. If they didn't hit a land, that's great for us. They did not hit a land, but that's arguably worse. Oh my god, they couldn't play it. Oh, that's so good for us. Okay, let's do this. Birgi time. Tab, tab, you, you. Let's draw a card. Yep, let's do it again. We're holding up this Explosive Apparatus, by the way. Let's just... no. We're not going to exile anything this turn. Not really. So play you for free. Goes +1 in mana. Now if we exile we can still Apparatus? Yeah. That is a correct statement. Okay. Sleeper Dart. Cornucopia, interesting. So now we can exile again. Land off the top. Yep, and that is, by the way, the reason why I still haven't made my land drop yet. So now we're attacking here. And if they block, we're just going to kill their bolas here. Yep, that's fine. And like, they can't destroy a board, right? And that's kind of fine. Inspiring Statuary is just so, like, this card is not a good card in Storm turns. This is specifically here as a hate card against control, very much like Defense Grid, because this allows us to recast our Meria using our artifacts. Yeah, this is purely here because it allows us to recast Meria easier. And they should kill the Birgi here in this spot unless they have another kill spell. Because I can just recast my commander. We can also just attack the Jace with a Den of the Bugbear. Yeah, we have enough mana to do all of that, right? Just like land, Inspiring Statuary, Meria. Okay, and they do kill the Birgi.
You want to play with fire, huh?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a grindy game now. Oh wow, plus into kill spell? Well, I'm very sorry, opponent. Yeah, this is... yeah, they just conceded to that. Shame concede. So this was an insane draw off the top, because that allows us to just get a ton of mana. And since we already have a mana producer on the field, we can just use this aggressively to dig for cards, because we now play a card, untaps, you know, exile off the top, play a card, untaps, exile off the top, and that is just great. GG. We are ready to play against Ashnod, Flesh Mechanist. So if I was playing against control right now, I would consider keeping this, just like loosely, purely because Witches of Metalwar Colossus is a really annoying combo for them to deal with, where if you have enough artifacts in play to make Metalwar Colossus to cost 0, you play Colossus for 0, they point a kill spell at it. In response to the kill spell, you sacrifice Colossus, get 2 food tokens. Now, return Colossus to hand by sacrificing 2 food tokens, and just comes back again and again, but this is a mulligan in this specific matchup. So, I don't like going to 6 in this deck. Reason being that Card quantity is incredibly important in this deck. Although I'm really not excited about this hand, let me tell you. So we lead on red here. In case we don't have any other play, we're just going to play Experimental Synthesizer for the red before making our land drop. And then we can get a land drop or a 1-drop artifact off the top for value, which is over half of the deck actually. Well, and that is unfortunate, but that happens. This is also the reason why we need multiple win conditioners in this deck, because sometimes you are just going to exile something you kind of want. Okay. Do we just try to win with a Nettle Cyst, is the question. We can just go Meria, Nettle Cyst. Issue with that is Meria will likely get killed and we can't replay our commander at the next turn. Oh yes, so now we just play the Nettle Cyst, because I think they have a kill spell here. They don't. We're just going to block the Dash Knot, by the way. We don't care too much about the Germ token, and if we really want to, we can. Yeah, okay. We can create a Samurai here. Let's start by playing Meria. Exile the top. Can we do one more? Yes, we can. Exile the top. Okay, Boseiju. What does it do? I think we start playing these. Play an Elsewhere Blast off of that. Draw a card. Yep, play you. Play. Play. We want to exile something here. Let's just get rid of you. Definitely want to give this ward 1. And then the question is, do we exile the top for a 0-drop or do we keep up these activations? In case a commander gets killed, I want to cash in these these artifacts for cards. So yeah, that is the reason why we're not exiling off the top for a 0-drop. But that is a play that I'm frequently doing with this deck. So 2 mana up. We could have also just re-equipped the Nettle Cyst here to turn Meria into a threat, but I don't think we want to do that. Oh, okay. Cityscape Leveler. Yeah, it didn't matter anyways. So let them have the ward first. Yeah, let's just... Okay. Draw a card here. So now the Cityscape Leveler is going to be annoying. And with annoying, I mean actually pretty annoying. I think we start off by using this Experimental Synthesizer. And then they destroy something that we don't care about, probably the Nettle Cyst. Next, sure. Draw a card. Yep, vomit out these artifacts. Leather armor and hope, sure. And we don't need bauble right now, or do we want to draw a card instead? I think I want to cash out in this bauble for a card. We're doing this in the upkeep to play around Thoughtseize. So we draw the card at the beginning of our turn instead of their turn. That way if they Thoughtseize they only have one target, but to be fair, it's almost always the Mortal Sun anyways. So Cityscape Leveler is not that much of an issue for us, apart, you know, from hitting for 8 each turn. Well, that is an issue. Oh, removes one card from the field. But like, if they hit Nettle Cyst, apart from, you know, the actual win condition that is Nettle Cyst, we still have a Power Stone that we can tap for the Immortal Sun. They just destroy the Power Stone with the Power Stone. Sure. Okay. They have 3 colorless up. 2 or 5. Yep. There it is, a Mind's Eye. Sure, draw the card now. Yep, you can't do that, opponent. Draw a card. Yep. Oh, that's so great. Okay, let's do this. Start out by Meria. We float you. Tap you, don't need you untapped, don't need you untapped, don't need you untapped. Let's draw a card first. Oh, that's an Inventor's Fair. That is just lethal next turn. If Meria doesn't get removed, which is a big if. Yeah, I think this is large enough. And now even if Meria gets removed, in response we get to tutor an artifact, and we're likely going for a Inspiring Statuary, purely because that card can allow us to recast our commander over and over and over again. Okay. And now we go into the Paradox Engine. And then with Engine we are just going for the win. Okay, yep, there's Engine. A safer line could have been Mystic Forge, honestly, because that would be a decent in-between of trying to win this turn with Cost Reducer plus Mystic Forge and being a solid play if Meria gets removed. So, yeah. Drawing cards. Yeah, I think... yeah, I'm not too happy with the Paradox Engine tutor here. So let's start out playing Engine. And then before we do anything else, we're going to put the spell onto the stack and untap, because now if we just exile off the top and they kill Meria, we can't, like, they could kill Engine, we don't have anything else to play. But now the trigger is already on the stack, and that allows us to tap everything in response. And then the last one will be tapped for mana. And by ordering it this way, they just don't have priority before they can remove Engine, if they had removal for Engine, but they don't think they have instant speed removal for Engine mono black. Yep. Yeah, we have to exile, whatever. So, yeah, now we just do this again, because, by the way, this is the fastest way to exile your deck with Meria. Which is why you also want to do that. It saves you a bit of time here. Yep. Yeah, and we don't need to float the 1 mana from this Power Stone. And now we hold a card on our cursor, so this draw animation is actually faster. There is the Ether Flux, and we have enough cards that we just don't care at this point. So, yeah, I can show you this again, by the way. So we hold full control, right? And then you notice if I'm holding the card on the cursor, how fast the draw animation is going. So do this. No full control anymore. Resolve all and hold in hand. And now this is just way faster than usual. Okay, anyways, let's kill them. We have an Aetherflux Reservoir on the field. Let's do this. Yep, and they die. GG. We are ready to play against Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief. So this is like the average Meria hand, where, you know, we have cards, can draw cards, and usually, you know, I think shipping this is reasonable, but purely because we're playing against Ivy, I think this could be a keep, because Explosive Apparatus can deal with a commander, and, you know, them also knowing that it can deal with their commander makes them have protection up in spots where they usually can just tap out and be more mana efficient. So just the fact that we have an Explosive Apparatus here makes this a keep, otherwise I think I would ship it. Okay. Let's start by just immediately showing this, so they need to play around it. And it's also just way more mana efficient. Doesn't matter which one of these we play. Okay, Command Tower. Not what we want in this spot, but it's fine. And they're hovering the Explosive Apparatus. And if they just pass the turn with like this mana up, we assume a counterspell, and the way we play around that is just not play our Meria into a counterspell. It's that simple. So they go for this line, and it is like, I actually respect it, because we can't crack this apparatus immediately. So we're just going to tap out here. And then pass turn. So if they kill Meria, or like if they enchant Meria in order to turn off her abilities, we can kill our own Meria with a Springjaw trap. That's how we get around those effects, and we actually have enough time in this matchup where we can actually afford to do that, especially with an Aspiring Statuary in hand. We can easily recast Meria. Ivy, I assume some form of combat trick. Yep, they mutate, and yeah, that is one dead Ivy. They draw one card, and we get to kill it with an Explosive Apparatus. That's pretty nice. Oh, that's a Veil of Summer. Let's start by drawing a card with Elsewhere Flask. No, let's just start by doing this. Okay, mana wise, I need one more. Yeah, I think we're done. Statuary. Yep, and we can Explosive Apparatus the Sea Dasher Ivy Octopus thing. And yeah, this deck is definitely not as like stormy as other decks, but that is purely because we actually have interaction. Whereas like we're way more like inconsistent than one might think in our actual Storm plan, you know. But I take that any day of the week over, you know, like we just have so much interaction. Like it is just not something you see. Like we can also just kill this Kodama right here, right? But first, let's just tap out, draw a bunch of cards. So let's exile Sea Dash Octopus off the graveyard. Yep, doesn't matter too much, but we have to have a target, so why not just do that? And that is... yeah, we can just Springjaw Trap here. We don't want to Springjaw Trap now because they could have a protection spell for Kodama. We now hold up Veil of Summer and Springjaw Trap, which is pretty nice. If they tap out, we just kill Kodama. We could do it in their upkeep, but I don't think that's necessary. If they play Ivy, we could just kill in response to an Ivy. Yeah, Entrancing Melody, that is fine. We have a Veil for that. That's also a reason why we hold up Springjaw Trap, in case, you know, if we didn't have Veil here, we would have wanted to float our mana in response. They see Meria and then we just shoot our Meria down. I think we are fine doing this. Yep. Kill it. Go to our turn. Inventor's Fair, and that is lethal. It's like I said it in the deck tag where this is not necessarily an engine deck, but sometimes you just have engine, you randomly win. Like we don't need to get engine every single game. And just like Mystic Forge Cost Reducer would have done the same here, just to draw our entire deck. But you know, sometimes it is that easy. Get the untap, and that should be it. So tap. Oh, we didn't put the spell onto the stack. Oh, whatever. Yeah, not optimal, and also missed 1 mana. How dare I? Let's start exiling. Exile, exile, exile. Oh, whoops, did I? Yep, yep. Okay, bauble. And yeah, we just draw our entire deck, and we use basically whatever win condition comes up first. If we still had a land drop to make here, we would just Balagat Recovery into Inventor's Fair and then crack the Inventor's Fair, but since we have made our land drop this turn, that is not a possible play. There is an Experimental Frenzy that should help us dig through our entire deck quite quickly. And Semblance Anvil. Is it actually faster? No, it is actually not faster. Purely because we can just exile at such a like high speed, if that makes sense. Like tapping 3 permanents is just way too slow, and also each cast we do creates additional triggers which slow us down here. Okay, another card to play here, and more exile. And so also a bunch of people also asked me, like, how do you not time out during this deck? So the way the timer works is if you do enough actions, and Meria tapping an artifact for mana is an action, you're not going to run into rope issues unless you hit the 5-minute timer. Once you are at 5 minutes, it just automatically ignores everything else, and then just goes straight for your timer. You can't gain anything back. So, and like each timer is 30 seconds. So in this spot we have 5 minutes and 30 seconds to do our whole turn, which if you exile everything the way I've showed you, should be plenty to go through your whole deck. Especially since you also have to keep in mind that we have multiple win conditions here, right? We have a Swift Boots, Foot Boots here, we can just get Nettlesis to win. Yeah, but that is the game. GG. We are done with games. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. And yeah, Meria, Scholar of Antiquity, is an absolute beast in Historic Brawl. I absolutely love this deck. Sadly, I couldn't show you the usual win today, with that includes, you know, not Paradox Engine, but instead just a critical mass of cost reducers and untappers like Traxos, or play off the top cards like Experimental Frenzy or Mystic Forge. Like, this deck is perfectly capable without like winning without Paradox Engine, but you know, you know, we got unlucky and drew Paradox Engine, I guess. Yeah, also, we also didn't get to see a Meria-less game against control, where there are games where you're just not casting Meria and just keeping the command zone as a threat while you're actually winning on board against control. And a huge role player in that kind of game plan is, where is it? Retrofitter Foundry. Like, this card is absolutely insane against control. And, you know, if I play against control, I think Meria won't resolve like ever. And I have this in my opening hand. It's the Snapkeep, basically. Yeah, that is the deck. It is really fun, really consistent. Did a few slight misplays today. Wasn't too happy with my gameplay, but hope you guys still enjoyed it. If you want to play this deck on a budget, though, let me tell you, it is okay. It is okay on a budget. So first and foremost, for the lands, we have a few colorless lands here with Treasure Vault and Darksteel Citadel. If you're on a budget and can't have these duels, also cut these colorless lands. Like, even if you have a Darksteel Citadel, but you don't have like these dual lands, just cut the Darksteel Citadel and just run forests and mountains instead. Like, also just cut the Inventor Sphere, because you can't support this much colorless mana, and you need your colors. So that's the mana base. And then the most important things here that you want to craft are your win conditions, your cost reducers, and your 0-drops. So, you know, Paradox Engine, Ugin, let's just make a pile of the like really good cards for the deck. And then you don't need Nettle Cyst if you have an Aetherflux, and you don't need, also keep in mind, Aetherflux also has a rare version. Like, check your collection if you have the rare version of Aetherflux or just any other card. Like, there are some that are cards that are reprints here, so see if you have those, right? But these cards here I would consider really good for the deck. And then, you know, some of them are worse than others, like Ugin and the Immortal Sun are definitely not as potent as the other cards in terms of cost reduction. And then the rares you see here are mostly for the Meria-less game plan, where you have your big things like Metalwork Colossus and Nettle Cyst, right? And then you have your lifelink equipments with Basilisk Collar and Shadow Spear. And then against control, you have like these 5 cards. Now, this is really a mountain, right? It's replacing a mountain. But all of these are great against control. Like Hope of Ghirapur lets you cast your Meria without it, like without her getting countered. Retrofitter Foundry just wins the game on its own. Defense Grid shuts off counter magic. Eye of Vecna. If you're against control and just have Eye of Vecna, what you're going to do is just milk that thing, like play it on turn 2 and then just activate. Just get a huge amount of card advantage until you're like at 6 lands, right? You activated this thing like 5 times and you're at 15 life, but that doesn't matter. Control doesn't pressure you, right? And then you can start casting Meria, and now you are in a spot where you like they want to counter Meria, and then you just play Meria on the same turn again because, you know, maybe you found something like an Inspiring Statuary, or just keep jamming Meria while you're getting more card advantage, and eventually you can also just draw into other win conditions. And yeah, this is mostly the deck. I would highly recommend you to craft these here first. These are very potent cards in the deck. And that is Meria, Scholar of Antiquity, my absolute favorite Storm deck at the moment. Love this thing. If you want to have frequent updates, although like if there is no update to be made, you don't get one, right? But if I think there is an update worth mentioning for the deck, I will post it on my Discord, so make sure to join the Discord if you always want to stay up to date on my latest lists, and I will see you in the next video.